Hey all, and this is the In Defense of Love special event. This is a Water Slayer event and Immortal Killer. This is the first Slayer event with Prismatic bosses. They have around 4Q HP at level 260, and that's big Q, not small q. The teams I've made up, this one is good for up to around umbral level, getting damage on other people's bosses. This does decent damage to the Prismatic bosses, probably my main team for the event. A commander team here, that's not going to be much use, but I made that up anyway, just in case I need it for the Radiant multi-bosses. Anyway, for this team, we have Holiday Saints with that 500% damage buff to any water card, very useful on the team. Metaverse Masters, this has that lovely 150% damage buff to any card, both used to boost up Sovereigns of the Dance. This is also Immortal Killer, increases self-damage by 300%, converts and creates power gems. Hometown Heroes has a nice Water Slayer damage increase, 175%. Then Frontier Titans also has a nice increase, this time 130%. Then for the relics, make sure you're breaking all 8 shields on the Prismatic bosses. You may need 2 Immortal relics to do that. The first relic here is a Beast relic. Since there are no Noble Killer cards on the team, I want to make sure I don't have any Noble relics either, just for the water gems at the start, so I can activate all the cards on the very first turn. That's an Arcane relic anyway. A Chaotic relic here. Then we should have 2 Immortal relics at the end to break those shields. There we go. Then a slight change for this team. I've swapped out Frontier Titans for High Performance Unit Area. You can only start doing damage on the 3rd turn with this team though, but the damage is considerably higher, so this is definitely going to be my hitting deck for the event. Holiday Saints again with that 500% damage buff to any water card. Metaverse Masters, 150% damage buff to any card. Sovereigns of the Dance, converts and a self-damage hitting card. Hometown Heroes, that 175% damage buff to all cards. Then finally, High Performance Unit Area, used when the enemy's turn counter is on 1, gets supercharged up, then boosts up Sovereigns of the Dance by a significant amount. With the previous team, I sometimes do around 200 to 300 Q. This team does sometimes over triple that, so it is a significant difference. Then for the relics again, make sure the 8 shields are broken. Doesn't really matter though with this team what kind of relics I use. For example, here I'm using a Dark relic just to help break the shields, since there's not that many Water Slayer cards on the team. There's another Immortal. I think the 2 relics here are enough to break all of the shields. But yeah, I added that Dark relic anyway. I will probably change that out at some point. We have Cater's Bow as well. This gives a slight percentage increase to attack. That helps with the damage a bit more. So I will just swap out that first relic while I'm here, since it's not really needed. That should hopefully make a slight increase to the damage. Then the Water Commander team here. Not really much point in talking about this team. It's just a backup for the multi-bosses, so to speak. I may mix about the cards on this team if I need to do so. So just bringing up my Water Slayer Immortal Killer cards. There's 3 here. I believe this one was reasonable as a hitting card a long time ago. If you are really struggling, you may want to try that, but I don't think it's especially effective now, especially as it's Water Power Gem 1s. Not too many other options, unfortunately. So this may be a difficult event. Depends on what cards you have. And there we go. That about covers what I'm using for this event. Let's get on with the actual event. Here we go. Alright, so here's the actual event. You can see here I have a prismatic multi-boss on the screen. That should be quite interesting, but I can only take out the first level realistically. You're going to need to be able to do 900 Q damage with between 2 and 5 decks, so that's not going to be easy. I have a radiant boss here as well. There's an umbral at the bottom, no longer the highest tier boss. There's also one of these special defensive love bosses, so I will go ahead and clear this one first. Now, if you are in a guild with quite a few active players, it makes sense to leave these up, so quite a few can tag it before you defeat it. Since I'm currently on my own, doesn't really matter when I defeat it. Not too difficult. A decent Water Slayer team will be able to defeat all affinities. Even a team that's not so good shouldn't have too many problems with these bosses. The HP is relatively low on them. There we go. That's that defeated. Then you get these special rewards. I'll just go and claim these so you can all see in case you've not seen yet. Chocolates and some balloons. Okay, so scrolling down, what I want to see is a proper prismatic boss. But first, let's take out the first level of this multi-boss. I will use my other team here. I think I'm going to need this. Also, once I've defeated the first level, I'm not going to be able to get any further, I would have thought. Worth a lot of trophies, though, just taking out the first level. Anyway, here we go with this team. Right. So, 900 Q HP on the boss. Should take 2 attacks, or 2 hits, should I say, with this team. The first thing to do is use Metaverse Masters, then do something like this. Carefully match and get the gems you need. Then use area, then just go left to right. And then hope there's a few power gems loose from the main match. We shall see if that happens or not, though. Right, let's match all of this. Here we go. So this is normally an effective deck in most events, but going forwards, it's not going to be much use against prismatic bosses in other colour events, unfortunately. That's a really poor grid, unfortunately. Nothing loose. So that's a minimal sort of damage hit, 438 Q. Hopefully I'll get another good attack out instead, though. Let's try again. And again, go left to right. This can hit for big Q damage if I get the right grid and a few power gems away from the main match. We shall see what will happen here, though. Here we go. That's pretty much optimal, actually. Then that's a really good grid, actually. There's 2 at the bottom that are loose, so let's see the damage. Come on, go as high as possible. Yeah, nice, nice. 1.3 big Q. So that should be enough to defeat prismatic bosses. Let's see if I can get one to appear. So there we go. This is what you all want to see, a proper prismatic solo boss. Now this is level 260 and has 3.9 big Q health. So this could be quite a challenge. I think I'll lock it first, then try both of my teams on the boss. Alright, so here we go. This team here is more suitable for other people's bosses. It's okay up until around Umbral. I don't think it's going to do too much to this boss, though. I'll give it a try anyway. Alright, here we go. So, left to right team, basically. Then hope for the best. I will probably spend most of the event hitting other people's umbral bosses rather than the prismatic ones. I don't think this will even do 5%, unfortunately. The health is simply too high. It's a bit higher than what I was expecting, but not as high as it could be, so at least that's something. The Prismatic Eternals, though, are going to be fun when they start spawning. 220.9 Q on that hit. So yeah, unless it's someone else's Prismatic boss that stays up for a long time, I'm going to need the other team. The enemy's defender skill doesn't really do anything since I don't have any turn delay cards as far as I'm aware. Let's give this another hit anyway with this team, then quit out and go on to my better team. The debuff was also removed as well there, which is always nice. Right, here we go. Nothing loose from the main match, so again, will be a sort of minimal hit. 137.4. Yeah, about 250 Q is the limits of this deck, I would have thought, realistically. So I will definitely need this team to defeat the boss. I don't think 3 turns will be good on other people's bosses. It might be, as they have a huge amount of health, so I may just use this for all prismatic bosses. Then my first team for anything lower. Let's go ahead and hit it anyway. Right, can I beat my 1.3 big Q damage that I did on the multi-boss? Well, we're about to find out. This will be my final attack, so to speak, for this part of the video anyway. Pretty much seen what my decks can do. You're going to need something good for the bosses this time around. If you don't have a good deck, then don't prestige all the way to the prismatic bosses. At umbral level, I found that I got quite a few of my own bosses, so you might want to stay at that level, kill those for as long as possible until the game forces you to prestige. Right, this is looking like a reasonable grid. One loose at the bottom, so probably around 800 Q, my prediction. That's a pretty good guess, actually. Let's do one more attack, then quit out of here. That gives you an idea, though, for how tough these bosses, or how easy the bosses are for some players. Not for me, though. Completely free-to-play player. This is basically my best Slayer deck as well, so other Slayer events are going to be extremely difficult for me unless I get something really good before that. Right, here we go. The added advantage of this deck is Area does remove any debuffs as well. This is pretty much optimal. A full crush, then anything loose? Yes, 3 gems loose. This should be really good. Let's see. There we go. That's a nice hit. 1.5 of the big Q. Let's quit out. So there we go. You've seen my teams in action. These are the only 2 teams I can make up that are going to do any sort of damage. I could hit with my commander deck, but it's not going to do anything. Maybe useful for the Radiant multi-bosses, which at this stage don't really offer any decent trophies, unfortunately. Alright, now to have a quick look at this corrupted Cupids section of the event. You will need 6 of each of the sigils, plus all of these materials to make a 6 pink star ultimate warden. Now that's going to take a lot of time, probably a lot of money as well. Lower than 6 pink stars is probably not really going to be worthwhile, if I'm being honest. Relentless Thorns, Relentless Might, and Relentless Zombie. None of those defender skills are especially exciting, if I'm being honest. Thorns is probably the best out of those. That's what it looks like anyway. If you want to take that all the way up to 6 pink stars, It's going to take you a long time, as I mentioned. Personally, I probably wouldn't go for this, but it's entirely up to you. This isn't a section of the event I'm going to be focusing on too much at all, I don't think. But that's what it is anyway, and that's the basic event. Plus there's a leaderboard here that gives, let's have a look. Oh, just some tokens. I'm not really sure what they do, if they even do anything. I think the top 4 guilds got their name written on the card or something. I can't remember exactly what it said in the newsfeed. I will probably just claim the one that I got for free anyway, so I'm not going to be getting too excited about this part of the event. Anyway, let's go over to the collection. So this time around we have one of those legend relic collections. Mostly junky rewards, unfortunately. But there is one decent item here. The random arrows. I'll go ahead and claim those. That could be useful for upgrading Cater's bow. The rest of this, though, just the usual stuff with the junky stuff as well. Let's go ahead and just claim all of this. Doesn't take you long to complete this collection. There we go. Support coins. More support coins. The treasure trove. Right, there we go. That's the collection claimed anyway. Let's have a quick look at what it is this time around. Here we go, over to the leagues. It's a Vanguard and a Fire one. Faknan, Agent of Malice. Sort of looks kind of like a devil, actually. A Fire Vanguard. Battle skill increases self-damage. You're not really going to be using this as a hitting card. Countdown, though, could be interesting if your opponent doesn't have a revive and can't remove it either. There we go, that's what it is anyway, though. Might be worth going for and putting on my own defence, as that's actually a pretty decent Vanguard in my opinion. Plus my defence is fire. Right, and over to the ultimates page. Let's scroll down, claim the support hero. And let's go and upgrade it. There we go, and just like that, it's been evolved. I'll claim this water essence as well while I'm here. And let's claim the random hero. What am I going to get? Well, let's find out. Anything of interest? No, that's a really old one. I think that's either a support or main hero. I remember it being really old though, so don't need to talk too much about that. The deck itself looks really good. Flames of Passion. An odd name for a water deck. Increases self-damage by 275%. That might not seem high, but this hero's battle skill can be used twice per cooldown. So that's basically a 550% damage increase to self. Also creates power gems and has a delay on it. Cooldown 4 turns. Quite a strong deck then. One to definitely consider going for. It's always hard to get the water decks. And if you have the decks that I have made up, you probably won't need this desperately. As I said though, it does look like a pretty good deck. There's not too much use in just having half of the deck and using that on the team though. Ideally you want to get the ultimate form or not get either past the deck, unless you get lucky from the vault, of course. What I'm trying to say is, don't make half of the deck with season choice coins, then not get the other half. Alright, I'm going to end the video at this point. I hope that was interesting and helpful. So you will likely be forced to prestige the prismatic level eventually. It will be quite tough, but you can always just do tag and rally, I guess. They give a significantly bigger amount of trophies than the umbrals do. So probably worth just rallying them if you can, or can't do any damage to them, should I say. This may be a tough event for many players though, so good luck if you don't have too much of a hitting deck. If you did enjoy this video, please do give it a like and subscribe to the channel. Subscribing is always very much appreciated. We have a previous event video on the screen, plus a playlist, plus you can also subscribe from here if you want to do so. And thanks for watching.